So we're going to call this public hearing and regular meeting to order Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. It is now 6:01 p.m. Do a roll call. So I'm Anthony Baldick, Chairman, Lisa DiMaria.
Here.
Alan Parody.
Here.
Stan Reinheimer.
Online, yes.
Great. Daniel Smith just texted, said he's running a couple minutes late.
I'm actually online. It was quicker to just hop online.
All right. Sneaky. All
Sorry
right.
about that.
Jonathan Kastner
Yep.
and Sarah McElwee.
Yep.
Okay. First things first, I'm going to need a motion to add the site plan application for 171 Main Street, Unit A, under new business as item B.
So
Are we in receipt of a site plan?
We are.
I didn't see the site plan material, so the application is.
The is all interior renovations. I can throw you the copy if you want it. Somewhere in my file.
The indication on application of parking, it's a change of use from residential to commercial.
Okay. It's changing from a hair salon to a flower shop. So commercial is where it's all.
Need a second. This is a different property than we had seen previously.
Same property, different unit. Went through the numbers, just for a second. Stan? Receive application. We got two motions, to receive an application and put it as item B on the agenda.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Daniel?
Yes,
Alan? Yes. All right. On to audience of citizens. Citizens may address the commission on items that are not listed on the agenda. A bunch of you, if you're gonna, at any point in the meeting, if you would like to speak, just state your name. And that way for the record, Nancy can get you. If not, on to approval of minutes.
Is there an update on 400 Industrial Park?
They came before planning and zoning last month, and they were denied by planning and zoning. So that's as far as we've heard it at this point.
So are they going to continue to be allowed to?
They're still in court. So waiting on the court process. Anybody else? Right, on to approval minutes. Item A, January 15th, 2026 minutes. Assuming everybody read them. Any comments? If not, looking for a motion to approve.
motion to approve.
I think Alan beat you to it. You're gonna have to second that.
I will second it. Thank you.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Assuming no one's opposed. Any abstentions? All right. Item B, January 15th, 2026, list of motions. Same as before. Everybody had a chance to read them. No amendments. Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second?
I'll second, Stan.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Okay, on to item 4, public hearing, special permit application, Agritourism activities, 362 West Main, or excuse me, West Elm Street, map 42, lot 4. Applicant James Neve.
Yes, Chairman.
Okay, you come up, give us a spiel about what you're after, what you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks, Sharon. I'm Jim Neve. My wife Sherry. We're the owners of the farm on Deep River. You can join me if you like. 362 West Elm Street. We've been members of the community for the last 6 years. We live in Deep River. We bought the farm in 24. We opened it in June. We opened it to the public in June. And I would like to thank the commission and the neighboring community and the zoning and planning department for granting us the commercial agriculture permit to operate as a farm. The farm had been dormant for the last 3 years. It was previously run by another couple, and we were looking to bring it back to life as it was previously. In the 6 months since we've been open, we've had 7,000 customers. They've come to visit the farm stand, they come to interact with the animals, and we're looking to do what we can to continue to contribute to the community in a way that allows this to be a place where families can come and gather. We are looking for permission to extend our permit, special permit for activities. For us, we've submitted a narrative, but in brief, it's the ability to give our customers and their families the opportunity to interact directly with the animals. We can give descriptions and examples of what that means. We'd like to be able to provide access to our property for small gatherings. Just kind of extend it further to the community. We understand in doing this, it comes with an additional responsibility. There's an outstanding item that's been overhanging between, I think, the Connecticut State Department of Transportation, the township, and the previous two owners. I mean, this goes back over 5, 6, maybe 7 years. It has to do with the fact that the farm never had a formal encroachment permit from the Department of Transportation of Connecticut. It does sit on West Elm Street, which is Route 80. It's a state highway. So, we had an option, Chairman. We could route traffic through Plains Road and come in the back of the property. That would have been less expensive and shorter path to solutioning like how to get onto the farm. But in respect to the community, we didn't want to navigate traffic onto that road.
Even though it's public.
It didn't make sense, right? So we've gone through the process. We've hired Indigo Land Design. We've had surveying. We put $20,000 of our own money into the point where we now got approval from the Department of Transportation from Connecticut to construct the proper entranceway and parking lot for the farm that is safe and it's accessible. It also keeps all of the activity of the commercial activity in terms of parking and movement of cars and the majority of the people on that side of the property on West Elm Street. And so I think, first and foremost, that's the thing that we wanted to make sure that you, Commissioner, and the township understood that we're doing what we can to try to comply with the necessary things to, get the support that we need from the township, from the state, and do things in a safe way. In addition, I think the other two things that I would highlight are we want to keep the activities to regular business hours. This isn't something that we want to do into the evenings. It might go to dusk, but they're largely small, kind of scheduled activities, as I mentioned before, for families and children primarily. And finally, in terms of coordinating it, my wife Sherry's had many different kind of roles in her career. She's been in the entertainment industry, specifically music, for the last 19 years, 20 years now. She will act as the event coordinator. So for anything that would be considered a private event, where we need to make sure that we have a person on board who's responsible and professional to organize the event itself and make sure that we do everything in compliance with the permits and the ordinances, Sherry will take the lead. And we do also have a manager of the store, Samantha Bartlett, who's been on staff with us last year, and we're looking to extend her responsibilities to assist in this as well. So that was a lot. I'll stop there to answer any initial questions.
Okay. So usually open it up to audience of citizens first, let them, speak, and then you can either answer the questions as they come up or wait till the end and, with a list, get back up and go over that. So,
Okay.
Fred Jordan, West Elm Street. Does this include amplified music or amplified speakers for your various events that you're talking about holding, reunions, parties, etc.? Because that area is a bowl and everything echoes.
Fred, right now we have speakers that are on the property that we use to play music in that general area. I don't see the need to extend that. In terms of live entertainment, we like the idea of having someone play an acoustic guitar. So in our planning so far, our thoughts were to do something of that nature. Hopefully that doesn't, I don't think it should extend beyond what we're doing today. So hopefully you don't hear anything today. If you do, please let us know. but we keep it at the same level that it exists today.
Will that be put into their permit that there will be no additional amplified music in that area?
We can do that. I can't guarantee the commission will vote that way, but I will make note of that.
Because, I mean, the previous owner of the farm, he was having parties down there or rather than my windows.
Oh, is that right?
For us or the.
When John had it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Have you heard music? Wait, you live right near us, right?
Well, you've been close for some time.
She's on the corner.
Oh, okay. Have you heard any music this summer or fall? Oh.
Okay, so I mean, no, the reason to ask is that our intent is to keep it at the level that.
Well, that's what the activities you've been having. You're talking about greatly increasing the activities, through family reunions and parties and that sort of thing. So that's where my concern is. You know, things down at the river were initially kind of subtle until they started having parties that were running out late at night and aggravating the neighbors at the lace factory. And we don't want to see something like that happen.
Okay,
The
understood.
the other concern is traffic. I've lived on that road for 38 years. Traffic is very, very fast. I don't care what your state experts say. I've witnessed many, many accidents. I've held flashlights for the EMTs.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's another concern, especially if you're having parties where perhaps alcohol is involved. Or is that in the picture as well? Is that there
It's not in our,
private parties where people are going to be drinking alcohol?
it's not in what we've submitted.
No.
And Fred, look, the traffic, the idea with activities should be, like, my plan is, there's a couple days a week where we're closed. We would use those days as an example for activities. So in that example, it shouldn't increase traffic. We're doing,
I'm not talking about, you're increasing traffic. I'm talking about the actual traffic on that road. The trash haulers from the transfer facility, the dump trucks from Stan Pit.
Yeah.
Plus the residents that simply ignore the speed limits and the lack of speed management by the town constables on that road.
I'm all with you on, if we can contribute towards helping control the speed limit.
You won't be able to, there's
Yeah,
this is
stop right now.
right for years. For that.
All right, so. Okay, I was gonna say, if you direct it at the commission, we can kind of go over that at the end. So I don't want to have just constant back and forth with all the neighbors, so. Do you have any more?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Anything else?
One question for you guys. So I looked over, previous permits and then more relevant permit that you guys are submitting this evening.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Sorry.
I didn't,
I'm not loud.
yeah, your name. I gotta make sure Nancy can get your name.
We own the property, John, right directly behind the Zero Plains Road. My question is more so in regards to you are submitting an activities permit. But it does not seem to be much agriculture happening on the property. I do see that you guys do have a small garden, which is fantastic. Nobody is trying to discourage any agricultural activities. Nobody's trying to say that that's horrible. In fact, we're trying to say the opposite. We encourage this because the neighborhood has been a huge agricultural resource for generations and generations. And, me and some of the other neighbors can all attest to that as their families have been in that neighborhood for generations. My concern is the fact that what I have seen over the last 6 months and what you guys are proposing is not agricultural related. It seems to be more so of an event space where you want to throw parties, dinners, workshops, but I see very little agriculture and farming. You guys noted in your permit that you guys are focusing on animal husbandry, which is fantastic in terms. However, if you look at the definition for animal husbandry, which I have right here, animal husbandry is defined as a branch of agriculture dealing with the domestication, breeding, and rearing of animals for various purposes, including labor. As in the case of large animals, so pulling oxen. You could have a food source, so you could be slaughtering these animals. Protection, so guard dogs such as Great Pyrenees, and companionship, falls into the same category, and a source of material goods such as hides and bones used for clothing and tools. As you guys had noted in your original application and what we have seen in the last 6 months is these animals are a gross misrepresentation of what agriculture is because it is a petting zoo. People go there to feed them. People go there to take pictures with them and to say hi to them. Other than the chickens, maybe the ducks as well. it seems that those animals are the only animals being used for actual agricultural purposes. And it seems to have then also encroached on neighbors' privacy and via auditory and visually.
Which neighbors,
Us,
you don't live in.
yeah, but we own the property and our intention is to build in, so you open up there. So if we want
So
to
I'm not,
comply.
So again, but that's just, none of the back and forth, just
Yeah.
give us facts and.
yeah, so I'm not, do I, I'm, that's, I'm.
That's electric.
I wasn't,
Okay, so let's let her finish and then we'll try
The
to.
question is, what actual agricultural activities do you plan on doing in this ag tourism permit?
right,
That is agricultural centered related focus.
right. So first, you highlighted a number of things that are challenging our existing permit, commercial agriculture, which we already have, so I'm not here to defend that.
No, I'm just
And
stating,
so we outlined in the narrative, it is an event motive. It is to have interaction with the animals. That's what it's for. It is to share the pristine land in the deep river that runs through our property
it's a creek.
with the community. That's offensive to Deep River, I think. It's Deep River. And I'm excited to be able to say I'm Mark Comstock here from HG and Lime, Hydrangeas Galore. And we're in the process of finalizing a partnership where we're going to use the property to create a nursery. So we're going to be doing a lot of planting. It will take, because right now we only have approximately 4 acres that are plantable because we're surrounded by wetlands. But with Mark's expertise and a lifetime in the business, we are able to plant, we are able to raise and grow arborvitaes, hydrangeas, perennials, and all kinds of things. We're going to put hoop houses up similar to like you have, and we're going to create all kinds of production in the category of nursery. So that will help address and alleviate any concerns that anyone might have around the farming side of agriculture as opposed to the animal side of agriculture.
Okay, can I bring up just a few more questions in relation to what has been said?
Yeah.
I think that that's fantastic if that is the true intention. That's great.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you just direct the questions and maybe we'll just go over them all at the end.
Okay.
We'll just.
Okay, fine.
So should we hit pause on this or should I?
Just keep going.
So in relation to what you are submitting tonight and the narrative that is being submitted tonight, it does not comment on any of the agricultural claims that has just been stated. It is focused on events and events only.
Yep.
And if you look at the town zoning laws, it says that all of these events in the ag tourism should come secondary to the primary agricultural purposes. And at this point, one could argue that the nature of this property is primarily event focused and secondary agricultural. And then in regards to circling back a little bit to the petting zoo, the current permit that they do hold, both commercial and agricultural, explicitly states that they are actually not allowed to have the animals for public viewing. And I have the permits. It says multiple places that they have knowledge that their permit does not allow them to act in such a manner, and yet they're continuing to go against the permit. So I guess my real question is that going to be included in this current permit application for agritourism as it is currently not allowed, but currently occurring?
We'll get to that. Okay, anybody else?
I have a question.
Please state your name.
John Balen, creator of map 42 lot 3, Zero Plains Road.
Yep.
I had a question about you said you're gonna put up hoop houses and you're gonna, about 4 acres, you're gonna plant, and I was curious where on the property were you planning on doing that? I've not seen a plan as to what's going where. It's definitively a complete plan essentially. I want to see, but right now we got bits and pieces of 3-page documents now 6 days ago. An engineered plan was submitted. So I haven't really had adequate time to really review these plans and where things are going to go. But I know you guys are 16 acres and you do have ponds and a lot of floodland, as you stated. And on the previous application for a commercial agricultural permit, I noticed that you had a nursery on top of a deeded easement for our property, which I would wanted to disagree with back in August of 2025. The public was never allowed to voice our concerns about you getting that commercial agricultural permit because it was just granted by the town. I'm just curious on where you plan on putting that nursery and those hoop houses, because if it's anywhere close to where you were originally thinking, that may be an issue with the deeded easement and adjacent landowners.
Sure, okay. Anybody else?
Question, that's the dirt road that runs down to the Christmas tree farm. Is that in your plans to use that? Because the egress from that, if you have people coming from your property and coming out on the West Elm, that's a very, very dangerous corner. Seen many, many accidents there. And how are you gonna control, or even stop people from using it if they're participating in an event there and want to leave there? Because I can tell you, just pulling out of my own driveway is extremely scary. And I think that that represents a hazard, not just to your customers, but to people driving by, because they're going in two directions.
Understood. I'm gonna run it through the commission too, and
Okay.
because they may have questions too.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember.
I'm jotting them
You got it.
down.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so, commission members, any questions for the applicant?
I have questions.
Okay,
My name's Diane Hearn.
sorry, I didn't see your hand up.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're good. Go.
Okay, I live at 47 Plains Road. I have two questions. One, is the intention to pave the parking lots? I believe there were 3 proposed. And then 2, can you share your plans for 28 Bar Road? You paid $600,000 for a $400,000 house that was not on the market. Will this be part of your events venue?
Right. Okay, anybody else online? I apologize, I didn't look up to see if anybody was hand raised or wanted to chime in. Commission members, back to you guys.
I'll let other people go first because I tend to take up time.
You?
I have one question,
Go ahead.
because everything else has been answered so far.
Yeah.
The special events, people parties, that kind of thing. How many per week do you think you would have? Per
Yes.
week, per month?
That's a great question. So I think the best that I can answer, oh, sorry, we're supposed to take it down there at the end, or should I? Positions.
So I was gonna,
Okay.
so,
Lisa, you need to speak up a little bit.
she was asking how many events
I
per
was
week?
asking how many events per week or per month they think they're going to.
Okay.
I'm told I yell too much at home, so.
Oh, I don't believe it. Okay. Anybody else from the commission online?
Yeah, I have a few questions, Tony.
Yep.
Stan.
Shoot.
First question is the farm stand sale. What is going to be sold, offered? Is that still part of it or not?
That is not part of this application. That was part of the original approval.
Farm stand is already covered in the commercial ag permit.
Yeah, so that's still open. Everything's good there, and
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, Daniel?
No questions.
Okay. Alan, you gonna jump in or you want to let,
No, it's his audience
Okay.
questions. Go
go ahead.
first.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time to address this, if somebody has recently just asked the question. We have tried to take the appropriate avenues via contacting the Planning and Zoning Commission based on questions such as that to the current permit and permit violations.
Mhm.
And I'm just gonna ask if this is now the proper time to discuss a previous permit, or if we want to
So,
table that for a different time and just so focus solely on the current permit application for agritourism this evening.
yep, so we're just gonna concentrate on the application that's in front of us, can't talk about other stuff. Just, I have seen your emails, I've seen the back and forth, I know Ken, our attorney, is working on it, so. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Mishewski, 77 Plains Road. I'm curious about a river walk. I would like to hear more details about what that will entail and how far up the river that goes.
Alright. Alan, you, in or?
Yeah, I'm in. I would like to hear more detail on the, just to follow up on Lisa's comment in regard to the frequency of the events.
Mhm.
I mean, I think the point has been made that the tourism component should be subordinate to the agricultural component. So clarification of the relationship of the agricultural component to the tourism portion of it. You know, obviously there is a good synergy there, and I think definition of agriculture and the product of it, I think could be educational, in fact. But I think it needs to be clarified exactly what that balance is. But to the events themselves, based on the applications, looking like your events are capping out at about 35 persons.
Yeah.
You have accommodation for parking for 40 cars, which would seem to me the type of event you're having would be solo people arriving. So I'd like to get clarification on the number of employees that would be taking up parking and what portion of this parking is really designated for your events parking, because that might give a clearer picture to what the real capacity could be.
Yeah.
In terms of the events themselves, I think it's important to understand what the frequency is of them and the duration. I know you're saying that they may go up till 9 o'clock in the evening. So in regard to that, if the event that has music, we've had lots of experience where that it becomes problematic, even when it's intended to be quiet acoustic music. The crowd itself can, the participants in the event can create their own noise levels.
Yeah.
So I think, because this is a new thing for us to consider, and we've had comparable or similar situations with event type spaces that are say non-conforming, but that are by special permit.
Yeah.
Or exception. That it really does need to be monitored and clear in the application. If the intent is to have an event to go till, dusk, which in the summertime is 9 o'clock, does that mean that the music or the potential noise generating activities will be going to 9 o'clock? I think we'd want to see some safeguards on noise generation, traffic generation, all that type of thing, and really understand the capacities, because it seems to be a little bit of disconnect between the parking and a number of participants in the events. So I would just ask that we have very good clarification on that. And has been, concerns been raised before that the primary function is agriculture. I'm in favor of preserving any farmland or farm-like activity in any way that we can. Just preserving that potential is as important as continuing the activity. But I think that it requires some clarity on those issues.
Going with what you just said, it appears that for their submitted proposal here, they're going to be taking, if I'm reading this correctly, the picture is not very clear. They're going to be taking part of what field near the ponds to put in a parking lot specific for event parking. So they're going to be disrupting field to add additional parking. Am I seeing that correctly? Which would then be taking those cars in that parking lot away from the West Elm, bringing it back to the neighborhood. Like I said, the picture's not very clear, so I just want to gain clarification on that.
All the access might be on the highway, it's still good pushing up against the neighbors and R80 in the back. For sure.
It could be seeing it incorrect.
Yeah, it's tough to see on these in the renderings, the plants.
It's the area the event lawn. supplemental parking specifically reserved for pre-booked private events and special gatherings.
Okay,
Want to clarify where exactly that is.
Yep.
on Thursday.
thanks. Next time, would you raise your hand or something? Okay. Go ahead, Lisa. I know you said you had a question.
Alan, are you all set for now or?
Yes, I am.
Talking about the hours of operation, those are laid out in our regs. So they're laid out right in our regulations of when the hours of operation of activities can begin and end. So that's gonna, you're gonna have to at least go by
Sure.
those rules.
Questions? If not, I'm gonna try and reread these, and I'll call on you guys if I missed anything that's in my list.
Chairman, if you don't mind, I
Yeah.
think if I could start with a couple words around
Sure.
intent, which might help to address
Yeah.
along the way some of these questions.
Yep.
So our objective is really with that activity is twofold. And there's two sort of things in here as I'm listening to the questions that I can understand where some are coming from. So we want to be able to give, there's a lot of families that come on, especially on the weekends with children, and they play behind the coffee shop when the mothers and the fathers had a cup of coffee or something. Mothers come during the week.
Mom group.
With, yeah, mom groups, and they want to have interaction with the animals. We don't, our commercial agriculture permit doesn't allow them to have, it specifically says it is for public viewing. I believe those words are in the app, in the permit that we have, but you can't go in the paddock and interact with the animals. So our primary objective is to be able to share the animals with children for learning, for education, for fun, and those things. That's our first like objective. Second, to the extent Sarah Layton is here, she's a resident from the community. She has a farm in the community. She works with the state on multiple levels for helping to create sustainability for small farms in Connecticut. And she's been someone who's not only a friend, but a consultant to us to help us understand how can we extend, the reach of what we have created and provided to the community in a way that helps give back. This is not a for-profit operation for us. Operating expenses were $250,000 over the last 6 months, and income was $100,000. So we operated at a loss of $150,000 over the last 6 months. That does not include any capital or the original purchase whatsoever. I do not expect to break even for another 2 years. The whole purpose beyond what I just described in terms of events and activities is to help us get to a break-even point so that we can sustain for giving this opportunity to the community, to the children, to those that want to have the opportunity to interact with it. I just want to try to break even over time. So that's the secondary purpose of doing these activities. I do want to directly address events from activities because there's a separate, I think, permit process for events.
Yes.
And we're submitting under activities. So if there's a line that we're crossing, Chairman, between events and activities, we're happy to pull back and focus on activities. There are a lot of good questions around what's the frequency, what's the time, is it going to be loud? Interacting with the children, interacting with the animals during the day when we're normal business hours, we need the activities permit, but that's not an event. And so we're very flexible. We're willing to be incredibly flexible to make sure that we can do the primary objective that I outlined. And if things like, family gatherings that go beyond normal business hours that might have music that could disturb the community, that's not top 3 on our list. So I just want to put that out there. So when we're considering what we do get approved for or not, that we can differentiate. It was really intended to be the activities, and they're mostly during our normal business hours that we have today, or on days that we're closed, we would open it up during what otherwise would be normal business hours to provide for those type of activities. And so in terms of frequency of events, which I think, on the commission, you asked that question, my answer that I thought about before coming here was 1 to 2 a month. Those would be considered the private events that we do, a family gathering, a family picnic, something like that. But again, I would put that in the event category as opposed to activities. So if there is a reason to separate the two for the purposes of getting something approved and something being deferred or eliminated, we're happy to have that conversation. Okay, so now,
All right.
hopefully I addressed some of those
You
things,
did.
but
So,
Can I say something to, like, as you started, as you stated, the kids like to play behind the coffee shop.
so hold on a second. If this is just gonna be a back and forth, no. If you ask an actual question, yes.
He's saying what he's for was a nonprofit.
Okay, but I don't want to have a debate about it. If you've got a question, please.
Okay.
So, okay, so we're gonna go back. So there was a question about the agricultural being secondary to events. And there was one more that was kind of related to that. So if you could kind of address that.
yeah, but I guess, so I just want to understand. We have a commercial agriculture permit.
Yeah.
So to the extent that we are allowed to work for what we've already been
Right.
given, I'm not sure how to answer that question with respect to activities. Like hoop houses, like I don't have that plan. I haven't submitted that. That would be an extension of my commercial agriculture permit, not my activities permit.
Right, so I guess your events are gonna be, you've said one or two a month. So it is secondary to that, if it's gonna be that small.
Yeah.
The thing that I was gonna put on that, there was a question about a planting plan. Again, that's not what you're here for. You're here for a parking plan.
Right.
And
And we will
events- an events
submit,
plan.
we will submit, as we have done every time we added something to the property, a plan for where would the hoop houses go, even though they're not considered permanent structures, they're movable. We work very closely with Zoe, who I think might be on the phone,
Yes.
and we communicate on a regular basis, and we're happy to, over ask before doing.
As we have been.
Okay. Egress from the side road.
We put a gate, oh, so yeah, that was a great question. Oh, you guys, so back here. We put a gate blocking access to the back, and that's, the intention is to keep both pedestrians and cars from going on the back road. That's why we took the time and the effort and put the money into getting the permits to give us the proper access to the front. So we have no intentions of using that for commercial traffic, other than if there's a delivery, we had large trees planted, we needed to have a truck come in the back. Things like, we have mulch delivered for planting, things like that.
Has to come that way because the bridge doesn't hold the heavy stuff.
The early plan I saw showed an event area and parking down by the Christmas tree farm.
So I'm gonna get to that one, it's one in my list. Sticking on the egress, paved parking. I see that you're widening your entryway,
Yes,
and I know the state's gonna make you pave at least to the property line.
yeah.
Are you paving the entire parking lot or
No,
just
no, we're only going to pave what we're obligated to pave and use stone for
Okay.
the areas where we already have
Yep.
an existing parking lot where we have to like put in a handicapped space and access. That might require some paving there. We have uneven gravel and old pavement in front of the barn where we'll resurface that with stone. And then there was a good question about over the bridge to the left. Was an overflow parking section that I outlined on here. I don't have any intentions of putting stone or pavement there at all. Like, so if we were allowed to, we would look for access if we have more cars than, can sit in the stoned area, then I would put them into that area. And then the question around 40 cars, we have the need for 40 cars during a Saturday and a Sunday during normal business hours today. Like, so like we need more parking just for the purposes of safety now, irrespective of events. That's really the reason why there was 40.
The main reason is because people like to come and hang out and just stay.
Yeah,
so
which
pretty
isn't great for
relaxing.
business revenue,
Not
but
event driven, it's just.
it is an
just
event driven.
Daily
Yeah,
activity.
exactly.
Is your normal capacities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And there was a thing about the river walk too, that
I think the intent of that was not to build there's no building or construction planned outside of the parking that we just referred to. That was just, an idea that we got that was like, hey, walking along the river and just like looking at, there's not much in it right now. The beavers keep building a dam and
Which we
things
keep
like that.
removing.
Although there's 3 otters that come
Oh,
and
yes,
live in the
there's
river.
otters, yeah.
So there is, and there's some birds, like, so that was just considered to be like a nature walk on the property along the river.
It's
That's,
more like a river sit. We were gonna put Adirondacks there and just like let people come hang and see the sunset. Not really
So my
she beat you to it.
In regards to, I believe it was the parking lot event, the area event one that we were talking about where you were gonna be and did. Right, so how would the visitors access that lot if you were to use it?
we have a bridge.
Okay,
It can handle cars.
that's.
Yeah.
So just for clarif, I'm gonna point it out, just for clarification, she's speaking about this area.
Yes, correct.
So yeah, that we can see, because the stuff that we got in the town is all
I
like,
guess the
so,
same size.
if you don't mind, I just can't see anything.
I'm gonna tear the page up because I need.
I was really looking to get one of these that I could actually view, because online it's so small too, and I can't only.
It's different than this one?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
So you're looking for this?
Like a
one?
complete plan, I guess, to look at. I'm looking at bits and pieces, and then with a previous permit, it's also got bits and pieces, so I don't know as cohesively what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I can, Yeah, this-
It's not that.
right, this is just the DOT
So
permit.
it's just all mix and match stuff.
It's literally just their parking.
The
Okay, oh, so
the
C is
most
all
up to
back
date
here.
things
So
are
you would
in
drive them in
folder
from the
over
front of the
here.
property in roughly, how many feet is that into the back of the property?
You go in through the entrance, I would say it's 200.
Okay. Couple football fields into the back. Then how far from the back of the property is that parking lot C, I guess?
Oh,
Like from the property line?
it's gotta be 200 yards.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Just curious, I'm
5
not
or
seeing it.
600.
So on here, it doesn't show you C. Where's C?
Yeah.
Would be,
So where's C?
here,
So here's the front, where's the front of the property? Right here?
here.
That's, here's the house. So C is right here. So they're gonna cross the bridge. This is C right here. This is their current goats farming, nothing back here.
Too.
We can have a conversation at a time.
Sorry, I can't see the
Sidebar.
I can maybe help just, like,
Okay.
so if you go over the bridge, like if we're going from our front yard towards your property, you go over our small bridge, the animal paddock is to the right,
Yeah.
Was it closer to like your bonfire area?
in
Like,
front of that,
That's what I was.
in front of
curious.
that, yes.
So you just have, you have the river there and the pond in between those two where you want to put this event space.
So, no,
No, it's just overflow parking, not paved. It's not, there's nothing defined as event space.
Okay, I just,
Yeah.
it's parking. So
Yeah.
C is back there by the fire pit.
Yeah.
so my question in regards to that is that I noticed in your proposed plan, you are, I'm trying to figure out the right way to phrase this, so correct me if I'm not phrasing it right. You're making a lot of ecological claims that you are preserving a lot of these ecological components of your property, which is in turn a fantastic idea. Nobody's trying to discourage that. But wouldn't this parking lot, if you're not going to add rocks, if you're not going to pave it, if you're not going to do anything to it, will that parking and that traffic via cars then in turn ruin this spot of land? And then if there are cars parking there, you guys were claiming to enhance and protect your riparian buffer. Would that not then have an ecological impact on the land itself as well as those waterways from whatever runoff these cars may have?
I would ask my expert Sarah to help answer that question, because to me, if there's a flat piece of land that's grass today, and so it would be analogous to when a high school has a football game and they put everybody on the
Just gonna say
grass.
it's fair.
Well, it's
I-
not football.
It's not 1970, we're talking 2026. And soil erosion.
That was my
I
answer.
was gonna say, it's also, consider the fairground is the same way, so,
Yeah.
if you just on the screen, show us where that, just give me a second and so everybody can see the parking part that we're addressing.
Right.
Sorry, it's a little clunky when we're.
Tony, can you screen share so that people online can see?
I'm getting there.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't go as quick as you think it does.
Well, I was trying to do it, but I don't have the host permissions, so I didn't know if you were already pulling it. So sorry.
Yeah, the second I tried to share, it got all like real slow with the mouse here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
People online?
Not yet.
Oh, it's
No,
going
can't
slow.
see it.
So
There you go.
Here it is. It's up.
All right. So I'm just real quick, I'm assuming you're talking.
That's it,
Right,
right there, right there.
You guys all see my mouse online?
That's it.
That's gonna see part.
Yes, we can see your mouse.
That's what we identified as overflow, and I described as non-paved, non-stone area.
Okay.
Yes.
Alan had another question.
Well, it's just a clarification. I think you've shown the extent and the intent of the paving. I don't think whether it's a good idea or bad idea is regulated per se as much as coverage is. So I assume that you've done the coverage analysis. You get a very large property here, so the amount of coverage is probably quite permissive. But where you're going, you know, I think you clarified the parking area is not intended to be paved, so it remains a pervious surface. So And I'm looking at a smaller plan here, Tony, you may have seen it, is that the area that we would be concerned with is the amount of coverage, the impervious. And given the amount of land that you have, it's probably it's easy to comply.
They actually said they were reducing a portion of it because there's a portion of pavement that's defunct, and they're gonna take that out and replace it with stone, so. Fred?
More questions. One is, you're talking about having the general public use that bridge over the creek on your property. There are no side rails, no guardrails on that bridge. What's the structural capacity of that bridge? Has that had any structural engineering and examination done? Does it meet the safety requirements for the general public to cross over it? That's one question. And the other is, because the agritainment is supposed to be secondary to agriculture, who's going to set that bar, and how's it going to be determined that that is actually occurring? For example, with the prior owner, when he had a coffee shop going in the farm stand, they said, "Oh, we're a farm stand." We're selling farm products, because they had scapes, garlic scapes left over from the previous owner. They were sticking them in a vase and saying we're a farm stand, which was a big farce. And I don't want to see another farce of something we're being told it's something that it's not.
So the previous farm, that situation was addressed by Zoe because of that. They didn't have enough stuff to continue that operation, which is why they closed.
Zoe did a full review. I forget, Zoe, it was December or November, and it's on the record.
Yeah.
So what she did, the extent to what she did it, and it checked all the boxes to ensure that we were in compliance with the existing permit that we had. The bridge does have rails. The bridge was in existence. We had the top redone,
But not
and
for
we had
public use.
rails put up.
That's a different story than when you're opening up to public use for cars passing over it versus private use on a farm. Are two different animals, in my opinion. And if you're gonna start having the public cross over a bridge like that, I've been over that bridge. I know that property.
It's a new bridge.
Okay, but so you say you have some, has that been checked out for general public use? Is that a safe bridge for the general public to use that aren't familiar with it?
No.
Okay, so that's a bit of a problem from the standpoint of safety. And the other, like I said, is how do we determine who's gonna set the bar for the agriculture or agriculture? To maintain that we're doing things that we say we're going to be doing.
She just made a comment that was a new bridge. You just built that bridge this
No,
year.
the surface is redone.
So you redid the surface. Okay, I
Yeah.
just want to clarify.
The rail, he said there weren't rails. so-
Yeah, I know, and I'm just clarifying new and used.
So has it been structurally engineered to allow the flow?
No, they just said no.
All right.
That parking really shouldn't be considered a viable parking area.
We're gonna discuss that. Gonna give somebody new a shot.
Okay. I don't have a question per se. I did submit a letter of support. Sarah Layton.
Thank you.
And I don't know if it's appropriate to share my letter of support.
It was included in the package. If you make me read this, I'm probably gonna leave. I don't have my glasses with me.
Would you like to read it?
I'm happy to
That'd
read
be
it. but if
fantastic.
That's allowable. I didn't.
Please.
Not a question. It's
Please.
just-
It's a public hearing, so you're able to speak. Yeah.
Thank you for reading it.
Okay, sure. Okay. My name is Sarah Layton. I'm the owner of Wild Hill Farm here in Deep River, a small cut flower diversified veggie and chicken egg farm up on Scenic View Drive, off of Hemlock. I'm also the agricultural programs coordinator for Connecticut Resource Conservation and Development, a statewide agricultural and environmental nonprofit. Essentially, my job there is to manage programs that provide direct assistance to farmers statewide. Along with my colleagues, I administer the Climate Smart Agriculture Grant and Equipment Sharing Hub program, working closely with 20 farms to implement climate smart projects with a focus on soil health and on-farm energy, and nearly 30 farms to utilize shared farm equipment. I also work closely on the Connecticut Veteran Grown Initiative, Connecticut Soil Health Initiative, and Farm Up program to provide much needed assistance to first generation new and beginning farmers. Additionally, I'm a certified compost operator, steering committee member of both the Connecticut Compost Alliance and the New Connecticut Farmer Alliance, and longtime member of the Deep River Garden Club, serving as co-president for the past 2 years. My husband and I have been Deep River residents since 2013. We have 3 kids in Deep River Elementary School, and our family is deeply ingrained in town committees and organizations. When the pandemic hit in 2020, I was a stay-at-home mom of 2 rambunctious boys and a brand new baby daughter. And as it was for so many of us, Deep River Farms became like a second home. It was a safe space to meet up with friends, get a treat, and let our kids run wild. I was shocked and extremely sad to learn of its abrupt closing a couple of years later, and I still remember how sad my kids were that they never got to say goodbye to the animals that they had grown to love. Fast forward to October of 2024, when Sherry reached out to see if I'd be interested in consulting for the farm. I tried to let her down easy. I was in absolutely no position to take anything else on. But as I genuinely wanted them to succeed, and because I often do work with new farmers, I told her that I was happy to talk and make some recommendations for where to get started orienting themselves in the world of Connecticut agriculture, which is a beast of its own. From my first call with Sherry, I was charmed by her enthusiasm, authenticity, and eagerness to jump in wholeheartedly in bringing back this once beloved farm. We began to discuss Sherry and Jim's ideas for the coming year, and I agreed to help with the crop plan and preparation, although I did tell them I would be largely unavailable come spring. Together, we planted garlic, raspberry, and blackberry canes that were the daughter plants of my very own, strawberries, and blueberry bushes. They grew several varieties of veggies, which they sold in their farm store. I advised them on low-till best practices to increase soil health and recommended the same organic practices that I use on my own farm. I also recommended that they work with Kip Kolzinskas, a well-known and esteemed soil scientist who contracts with Yukon Extension as a soil conservation and land use consultant, and he did come out to the farm. Sherry and Jim welcomed my suggestions and recommendations, always with the intent to build a sustainable operation whose harvest could be offered in the farm store. As we know, some annual crops are very quick to harvest, and some perennial crops such as raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries can take years to fully establish. I transplanted 100 blackberry canes from my own property, so that's 100 blackberries alone. There's an additional 100 raspberries. There are at least 200 strawberries planted. I don't know, a dozen blueberries. These things take time. It's not an overnight, like you're going to get a bunch of berries the next day. I've heard some of the rumors going through our small town about the farm on Deep River and its plans. I've also read the letter that Sherry and Jim sent to their neighbors to be as transparent as possible about their business plans and future goals. They've proactively taken measures to fix the aggravating parking issues that the previous farm owners did not resolve. They offer reasonable hours of operation and are requesting the ability to host infrequent events with a 35-person guest limit. As a resident of this great town, I find this farm's operations and agritourism requests to be more than reasonable. I've worked with and talked to well over 100 farms in our state, and many of them offer events for the public to engage with their farm. In fact, agritourism has become a vital component of many farm operations in our state because it strengthens the financial sustainability of the farm and its connection to the community. Many farms rely on farm stands, farm-to-table dinners, tours, workshops and classes, and more to create additional revenue streams outside of potentially unpredictable crop yields. These activities also provide great opportunities for our community to collectively enjoy the beauty of agriculture. In a state where agriculture is dwindling at an alarming rate, with an estimated 460 farms lost between 2017 and 2022, and over half of all dairy farms in our state closing in the last 10 years, over half, we owe our support to small farms. The high cost of land, limited availability of suitable parcels, regulatory complexity, access to capital, high startup costs, price competition, profitability challenges, shortage of skilled help and labor costs, and an increase in unpredictable weather events are just some of the reasons that small farms are rapidly declining in our state. Let's make sure we're not just one more reason that a small farm fails. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody else? Audience citizens?
Tony.
Yep.
This is Dan.
Yep.
Can I get the name, that letter right there? I missed the beginning.
Oh, Sarah Layton. So her letter is in the OneDrive too, if you,
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so, commission members, do you have any more questions? Because it's a public
Did I
hearing.
address all the questions that we jotted down? I'm not sure.
You've addressed them as far as I can see. That's why I'm going to ask these guys if they have any more questions, because they can't ask you any more questions after we close the public hearing.
Okay, one final question.
Please.
Okay, so we have packets that we would like to submit. We would like a full list. This way, you know, we're not taking up everybody's time of just questions and concerns.
Yep.
Is this going to be made a final decision this evening, or is this going to be extended until next month so that us as the neighbors and you guys as the board have time to review everything and take everything into consideration?
Not to me, it's up to the commission, so we're gonna ask that question next. You said you were gonna submit something?
Yeah. I was gonna say, we also have some, we have a letter written from one of the other neighbors. I'm not sure if it would be appropriate for us to read it on his
So-
behalf.
Reason I'd be filing for an extension with you guys today is because I only found out about this meeting as an abutter as of Friday with Zoe via email. I was not correctly mailed the letter. It went to my old address. My correct address was in the system, and Zoe did verify that. So as an abutter, I didn't find out until Friday the 13th. Saturday, Sunday was obviously a holiday, with Monday being a President's Day, so I was unable to view or do anything for that weekend. I have a handwritten note. I would like to submit it. I just would like to have a finished copy for you guys versus what I have here today. This was very rushed. And just the time to prepare. I mean, I did nonstop trying to write, try to get what's in here on paper.
I was gonna get, so you said Zoe verified that it was sent to the,
She said she would let the chair know of the discrepancy and whatnot, and also that fact that the engineered plans only got updated on our website 6 days ago or 7 days ago. It really didn't give me adequate time to even process what had been presented. So I would like to file for an extension and to keep the hearing open.
Sure. Can I ask Zoe what happened with the we sent the address, we sent the letters to the exact same addresses that we did for the first time, and those were the properties that.
so they,
Yeah,
saying-
so, and I don't know when, the mailing address was changed, because I don't know people's personal lives, but when I pulled up the GIS, kind of mailing list, which goes based off of the assessor records, it had been updated. So Jim, I would assume that if you said that you used the mailing list from last time, that I helped you pull back 6 months ago or whatever it was, then that's the discrepancy, is that they moved, and so you sent it to the old mailing address that was on file for the assessor.
No, I had the old, but we downloaded from, what's it called, Axis.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So the town
When
did-
was
Prior-
then I don't know.
It was 2 weeks ago, or it was right, it was, 3 days before we mailed.
Yeah, because the proof of mailing that you sent said that you mailed out on February 2nd, I believe, and I can open up to verify. So if you pulled it from then it would mean that the assessor's data was updated after that point, would be my assumption, if you pulled it fresh from the GIS.
Yeah, yes.
I'm gonna lean on what Mark Brantz told us that the last Casio training was, that if you were here, you were just like everybody else, well informed.
Oh, maybe might be well informed, but not with adequate time. That's why.
How much time would you like?
So I can write, and submit documents, verbal and written.
You could hand it in right now. So again, I'm gonna ask my commission what they think. It's not just up to me.
Yeah. So then would you like to read what you have to read, and then I'll read what I have to read, and we'll submit Ted's, and then we'll. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask them to submit it instead of just reading it in.
I think it's about to at least summarize your points in there, because that might be reason for us to consider extending if there's additional information or research that you'd like to do. But if you do have material that can be presented or concerns, it'd be best for us to hear it. If we get it submitted in writing, we won't have it for our use tonight.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
In other words, if you can at least summarize, give a verbal on your concerns and what you will be submitting, we'll be able to take that into consideration right now. We just submit it for record. We're not gonna sit here and read it. So it certainly helps our deliberations if there are certain concerns that have been brought to light.
Right.
Can we use the copy machine here tonight, or is that a possibility that if I submit it, that I'll have at least a copy? Because I had something to ask.
I will get you a copy to return
I
to you.
appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I want to make sure.
Okay.
Sorry. So our concerns with October, this the disruption of, reducing the quiet, visual auditory disruption, the petting zoo, especially as that brings a lot of people very close to our property where we spend a lot of time on the weekends, and we will hopefully be submitting our building permits in this coming week with the code time is finalizing our plan as well. So our intention is to live there, which would then make it our front yard viewing point. The primary purposes of the property, such as agriculture should come first versus, the events and the tourism aspect of it. Going off of kind of what Sarah said is that, yes, we need to support our small farms, and yes, other farms do rely on the tourism and the events. However, those people are doing it for profit. That is their livelihood. That is their number one job. They have stated that that is not the case here with them. Keeping of the livestock and poultry being an accurate representation of what agriculture is versus the place to I have questions just more so on the planting, the plans for the future, how we're going to prioritize, how they are going to prioritize agriculture as number one. Farm status as well. Rec 8 been submitted. Are they approved to be a farm and farmland, encroachment on the neighbor's deeded easement, as well as planting on top of our easement, the liability that comes with that, as well as, looking at the nursery plans that they plan on, as well as, previous plans as to where they want to put the nursery, which is on top of our deeded easement, which then opens up a whole host of liability issues, the environmental factors, the future plans for 28 Bar Road and expansion down the line, concerns over proper enforcement of permits in the past and moving forward with the permits that they're given, whether or not they will actually be properly enforced. And then just maintaining a positive quiet presence, as we have not experienced that. And that is my letter in a nutshell. I can submit another neighbor's letter who could not be here tonight. I will go over that. I can just let you guys read that for him. And then John, I don't know if you want to summarize what you have. Might overlap with my letter.
You can read the neighbor's letter, just state the name of the neighbor and their address.
Yes, so. Okay, so the neighbor is Ted Botko. He owns 94 acres in the back.
Gail Lachette.
Yes, but you didn't let me finish. He owns 94 acres in the back, and his ex-wife owns right behind, and she is in support. We also have her signature saying that she is not in support of this. So the letter here that Ted has written says, Deep River Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing, February 18th, 2026, agenda posted at town clerk, yada, yada. I am opposed to the change of R80 zone to special permit agritourism activities at 362 West Elm Street. I am the co-owner of 3 properties of raw land of a total of 90 plus acres with addresses on Plains Road and Bar Road. I've been the owner of 3 homes and properties adjacent to the subject property for over 80 years and farmed the land for hay. We spoke, sorry, he's got rough handwriting. We spoke of the subject properly as the cow pasture. He said, I now live in East Haddam. I miss the rural open valley land neighborhood. Deep River Farms property of less than 16 acres is limited in size when consideration is given to 3 ponds and the flow of the Deep River. It's subject to flood hazard mapping and the impacts of inland wetlands and water courses, which is also another question that I have forgot to ask is, how has inlands and wetlands spoken on this and what they've said? It's subject to flood hazard mapping and impact on water courses. Living for 8+ years upstream from this property, it's subject to frequent to high water flow. Upon reading the submitted narrative and supplemental provided, the tourism aspect is emphasized. Does the extensive tourism proposed for this site, acres, all water bodies, 40 car parking area, the environment fit the neighborhood? The reason I am opposed to this is the reason that I am opposed to this in an R80 zone. Upon the limited time available, I request the hearing room open, an opportunity to review materials, and may connect in verbal and writing to the commission. Signed, Theodore Bacco, 85 Lakeside Drive in East Haddam, Connecticut.
You said there's one more?
Yeah, this is quick. I'm just gonna introduce myself again. My name is John Phelan. I'm owner of Zero Plains Road, map 42, lot 3. I own 41 acres of the original 61-acre farm. That's roughly 2/3. This includes approximately 300 yards of frontage to 362 West Elm Street as my front yard, and as plans moving forward, as their intention is to live there, real close to the road. Under this permit, I want to know how many animals are they allowed to have under the gross lot? With all parking lots, event space, ponds, landlocked, land easements, setbacks. I question the 16 acres and what is usable on that land and where the animals will be kept. I am making the town aware that I am an owner of a deed of easement across there, where previous plans have stated that they want to put hoop houses in a nursery, which states no activity shall commence. It's also an insurance liability, as I have to have Jim Neve and 362 West Elm on my insurance. As it's a liability. If one of his customers gets lost, wanders, and gets bit by a goat on my easement, I'm equally liable as he is. So I object to the use of this land for agritourism, as it will affect the rural charm to our neighborhood. 40 cars, even dispersed into different lots, will be very apparent from more than one neighbor's view. 40 car parking on an 8 to 10 hour day could mean hundreds of cars coming in and off that property. The view they look to sell and exploit will change for myself and others in the residential area. Ag tourism doesn't stop here. They fuel further land acquisition, which will only expand its footprint as the time goes on. 20 Farm Road was just acquired, and we would like to know the intention of that. After last year was allowed 12 cars, from my understanding. This year we're already moving to 40. So as you can see, within 6 months, it's already expanding. Just to reiterate, the bar was not properly notified. Public hearing was made aware on the agenda as of 10:30, day before yesterday, 17. To prepare for this meeting, I had inadequate time. I am informed, but just not adequate time.
I mean, we will submit all of this for you guys to review in person as well, but I guess that gives a general idea as to
Yeah,
where.
and I would also like to see a complete cohesive plan for the entire property and the events taking place. I see probably 6 months or a year ago, I see there was some ideas and plans, and this is what we're talking about, this plan moving forward just for parking lots, but it obviously goes as a cohesive package. I'd like to see that in full, so that I could ask questions on the full package.
It also just seems to be like there might be some gray areas, as they stated earlier in the meeting, that, you know, the river walk is just an idea they're throwing out there. So I would like to see some true solidified plans. This is exactly what they're looking to do. And, you know, what all of the details that are going to, you know, have the entailed in that.
If you guys would hand those in, I will make sure I get a copies to you guys. You have your email, so I'll make sure I scan them before.
I was gonna say I can send you anything else.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We open the public?
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. This is Diane Hearn from 47 Plains Road. I would like to ask Jim if he's willing to share his plans for 28 Bar Road, the house that he paid $600,000 for that was worth $400,000, that was not on the market.
Okay, it has no bearing on this application, so I can't have you open up that round of conversation.
Understood. Just wanted to emphasize.
Yep. Okay, anyone else? If not, I'm going to ask the commission what your feeling is. Have you got?
Tony,
Yep.
this is Daniel Smith of the commission.
Yep.
A part is from anything that pertains to this application. I've heard in the letter and the statement, and then what Ms. Hearn just mentioned. None of that is applicable, as I understand. Correct? To the application at hand. No future plans, no overall plans.
Correct. So I was going to get to that. I just want to make sure there was no one else.
I want to make sure I understood that. So that, because that's all, those are extra, right?
Yes. So if there's any, you don't have to just ask questions. If there's any you want to speak positive, against, you can do that. So before I start.
Matt Tomlinson, 5 Warsaw, off corner. As well. Kind of a comment, a little bit of a question. You seem to really be putting the cart from the horse. I feel like the agriculture should be upfront and the other stuff, I understand that there have been plantings and whatnot. I've never seen anything about that. That's the first I've heard of plantings going on. I assume that you had plans going forward for agriculture, but I feel like the activity stuff, where's the ag part? I'm seeing a lot of the.
Have you been
activity.
to a? I'm just saying.
I just like to see formal plans. I mean, it doesn't, it seems odd to be asking for permission to do activities without the agriculture, more formalized. I just,
So anyone else?
Can I just go? Well, I'm sorry. I know I'm talking so much tonight. I apologize.
Do you have, I mean, if it's an additional question or if it's a repeat, no, thank you. If
It's
it's
just-
an additional question, please.
Going that sugar now. I understand that, like, I wholeheartedly agree with him. We are putting the cart before the horse. At what point do we put a pause on the activities and we say we need to focus solely on the agricultural component? And before you do anything else, such as events, activities, agritourism, can you at least show your intent and the follow through with the agricultural component?
Chairman, this might help. We have a commercial agriculture permit.
Thank you. I was just gonna
Mark
say.
Comstock is sitting here. We're days away from finalizing an agreement to use our existing permit. Doesn't require any additional submission. Mark, do you want to roughly, how many trees will we have on the
So my
property?
name is Mark Comstock. I'm the owner of Hydrangea Galore. We're a very successful hydrangea producer in Old Lyme. I'm kind of maxed out in the space that I'm using now over there. And I've been talking to Jim over the past 18 months, really, about doing something at his place at Deep River Farms. We are going to be rushing this spring to get something underway. Probably will be started in the next 30 to 45 days, doing actual hydrangea production. In particular, we're gonna do hydrangea tree production, which is a specialized way to grow hydrangea to a topiary form. There's a lot more to come real soon, but we are, if you Google hydrangea galore, you are gonna be very happy with what's coming to town.
Okay.
If you've driven by my farm on 156 in Old Lyme, it's absolutely stunning. And that's what's coming to your town.
But it doesn't country, sorry.
Oh, no. So, all right. So we're getting off subject here. We're really deep into the weeds. We're here for just the permit, not what their ag is. They already have that permit. So do you guys have enough information?
I would just like
Yep.
to make a clarifying statement.
Please.
We are here to look at only the agriculture activities. And you are saying that they mostly are going to be within your already established business hours. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have 2 to 3 events a month that would go maybe beyond what the daily activities that are already established within the farm. I think that was pretty much, I just want to make sure that we establish that that is what we are looking at today.
So, okay. So just quickly, you guys, if the commission has enough information, they can close the public hearing, they can continue the public hearing. The choice is yours, but looking for a motion of some kind.
This is Daniel. I make a motion to close the public hearing.
I think it makes sense to at least ask the audience one more time if they have any
Oh,
issues to raise prior. This is their opportunity to speak, and it sounds like.
Okay.
And a
No one's-
reminder to the commission that once the public hearing is closed, whatever information we have for decision making is what we have. So.
They said that. Okay.
I have one more question for the town. I just want to know, what is the definition of primarily?
Oh, primarily.
If a farm stand is to primarily sell goods from a farm, I want to know what that definition is.
Okay.
I understand that.
Okay. Good. Anybody else from the audience? Online? I know there's a bunch of people online still.
Question one more time because it wasn't clarified. But at what point is that standard, are we gonna know that the standard has been met of agriculture versus activity? Because if you're, my recommendation would be you grant this permit in stages and let's see the agriculture first. Then come back and talk about activities when we see that there's actually significant effort put into agriculture.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Commission, there's a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay. I'm just gonna run through the roll call real quick. Put my. Oh, because I wrote all over it, that's why. Okay, I don't even, Daniel made the motion. Sarah, you second. Alan,
Yes.
Dan?
No.
Oh, this is the motion to close the public hearing, right?
Yep, yep. So we got 4 of us.
Okay.
Thank you. I knew I should forget somebody. Yep.
Draw that, because we have had 2 requests to keep the hearing open.
I'm sorry, I had heard that it had moved to commission when I made the motion. If the audience still has members that wish to speak, I defer that.
No, so, yep, we did that. So we're making a motion. At the moment, we have 3-2 to close the public hearing. Right, is that correct?
Yeah, I let me change mine to a no, just because
That's what I'm saying,
we
yeah,
did hear
so
2 requests to keep it open for additional information.
Okay. I'm gonna lean on Nancy for this one. If it's 3-2, is it still a pass, or do you need a majority to close the public hearing? I mean, do you need majority, or do you need 2/3? All these technicalities.
Let me look it up.
I think everybody's Googling it. Can't remember, some things need 2/3 vote, which is. All right. You might be right. It's a special permit that's still able to get. Shame on all of us for our casting training. I'm assuming it closes, but I don't want to be wrong about it.
Mike says yes. Tony.
You need what, 2/3?
No, that the 3-2
Oh, okay.
is
That's
enough.
the close. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, public hearing is closed on that. On to old business, special permit application. Agritourism activities, 362 West Elm Street, map 42, lot 4, applicant James Neve. Okay. Any discussion about this? So I think some of the things that came up that are still in my mind was the no additional amplified music. And I think because we've had issues with that before, I mean, maybe, so no additional doesn't really, that's not really a thing you can go by. So, I mean, we're gonna need a way to address that. Mike,
Do we have a decibel
we,
we can't go by regulation?
so
So
this,
it's just time.
yes,
If, when you say additional, is there any permit for
what's there.
for what's existing?
Right.
So, yeah, that's the first step.
Well, my thought was inventory, we go out there and see it, you know, tomorrow morning and say, what do you have on site? The other thing we could do is, could also condition this approval to expire a year. In case this does get out of hand, all of the lace factory. Right, then you have repercussions when they have to come back and apply again. that also keeps the agricultural part in check, where it doesn't just turn into an events place. Just my thought.
Yeah, is the, again, that's where additional information is important, because is the music associated with an event, which I think is outside of the purview of this application, because they're not permitted to have events as of right under the agritourism, so just the kind of daily activity.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then the question is the music and any noise generation inherent with agritourism, which I think it needs some clarification, because music isn't inherently agricultural. The sound of tractors is. So
So in the regulations, it does point to the number of events
Yep.
within the agricultural or agritourism, whatever it is. So it says that non-agricultural related uses shall be limited to 8 within a given calendar year. Upon reapproval of an approved special permit, the applicant may apply to increase that number if they demonstrate to the commission that there will be no adverse impact on neighboring properties. So they would have to come to us anyways
Okay.
for any event that is not related to their activities.
is that any event or any event in excess of 8?
I think in that.
Right.
reading it in excess.
I read it in excess of 8. That was my interpretation.
So there is an avenue to have more events, but you come in for an events permit.
But that's for anything that doesn't have any.
Exactly. And again, that's the concern that's been outwardly expressed here. It's the association with ag. And looking at this in terms of, I'm gonna put up my regulations. We have them open as to whether, so this is a special permit, so that there can be conditions, which means initially we can allow the agritourism, but restrict it from events that have music, that would be a permitted event, so that it allows us to kind of gauge the impact on the community, the abutters, and the attendance. Because again, there's good intentions. But we've experienced it at several sites in town where the event activity becomes incompatible.
I just don't want to make it so that every time they want to have someone playing guitar on Saturday, that they have to.
That's an amplified sound though. If that's an acoustic guitar,
Yeah.
it's not.
Right.
Yeah, so anything with the amplified sound. You're saying.
Right.
Anybody can sit in the yard and play it.
Right.
Right.
Or an electric guitar.
To me, what it does is provides a recourse for abutters, that if the music is too loud, they can say it's an event and it's too loud. It's I know I've said it before publicly, is that discretion goes a long way. So if you sit on a hay bale and strum a guitar in in proximity to the barn, it sounds not going to carry, and I don't think anybody would have any issues to raise that would pass muster. But if there's an amplified event and they're recurring frequently, it changes the pattern of use in the area. So I mean, I think we've heard intentions that it's to grow the farming activity. This is to help support it. I don't think that there would be hesitation to, if they wanted to have a larger event that was the intention of raising funds, whatever it is, to seek a permit for that event. You know, if it could be interpreted as being, you know, a non-agricultural sort of event. I just tend, you know, I'm very much in favor of anything that preserves farmland and similar activities.
Right.
But I would err on the side of caution of something, you know, being permitted to grow that is outside of their bounds. And we've heard enough expression of concern over that. So
Yeah, that's why I was leaning towards, you know, giving it a year and then have to come back, just so we're not out in left field again with, like you said, amplified music.
I agree with that.
All right, anybody, any other comments or concerns, or anybody want to make a motion of some kind?
No, not yet, I want to think.
Or you got time to think?
just want to, Tony, you may have looked at the plans more than I. I've not spent a lot of time studying it, looking at new structures on the property of like that general area of parking, et cetera. So the physical implications to this application are pretty minimal.
Yeah, no new structure.
What I was seeing was that the majority of the physical changes that have been documented are to conform to the DOT requirements. You had intimated some interest in the viability of the parking. And again, I don't think the engineering of a bridge is in the purview of planning and zoning.
I was going to bring that up myself. So
There's other
so
regulations outside of what we would say, but wetlands weighed in and did not have any concerns regarding the placement of the parking. I didn't see any issue in regard to the coverage, so I'm not seeing any issues regarding non-conformity with coverage, setbacks, etc. But I'm going to admit that I have not spent sufficient time with a plan to have covered everything. So
yeah, so
I'm kicking it back to you.
I was going to say the application doesn't have any additional structures, and you did question. Assuming you're questioning the bridge, as other people had questioned the bridge. So
I'm not questioning the bridge. I'm saying the bridge is out of my purview.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm not going to review the engineering of the bridge. I'm going to say that, well, if you have a bridge on your property that gets to parking, that's okay from a planning and zoning perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you could go a couple of ways with this. So you could determine that, you know, somebody's raised a safety concern about that, and that would recommend that they have a structural engineer look at it to make sure it's safe for car traffic. I mean, you could throw that in there if you'd like to, and then they could just nix using the parking in the back.
We can recommend that.
Yeah. Can't.
Can't condition.
Any other comments for this, or you still thinking over there?
I'm thinking,
All right.
the parking that's
Fine.
delineated on,
Big map for that guy.
it doesn't matter. That parking is all out on West Elm area. It's not, so it meets the regulations as far as being least visible from access roads and adjoining properties.
Yeah, it's in here.
So that. That's. Hours of operation, they have their hours of operation, but they would have to come back which the activities are going to be during their normal business hours and events, they would have to come back for permitting. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing.
Nope, public hearing is closed.
I'm sorry, to continue the application
Yes.
to the next meeting in March.
I second.
Yeah, yeah, I can go home and get this kind of treatment.
Okay, so you guys want to review material till.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
I think this is sufficiently nuanced.
that was one. Did we get a second?
Yeah.
I get a second.
Okay, sorry.
You have 8 seconds.
Is everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay. All right, we will discuss this at next month's meeting. Again, I lost my agenda. Okay, we are on to new business preliminary review 217 Winthrop Road, which is a proposed subdivision. Is an applicant here? You don't look like Bob Dunn. Bob Dunn. I work for Bob Dunn. So just.
That doesn't come to meetings anymore.
That's not true. I see him in Madison all the time. Yeah. I don't know if you want this full size now. If you throw it on the table, somebody will look at it. Thank you.
Blind people.
Oh, give us.
It's a
So. Can you put on downstairs? Thanks. Sorry. No worries.
Good evening. My name is Sam Whitus. I'm here.
We have
Give me one
also
second.
stations
Can you guys-
downstairs.
Yeah.
please.
Good evening, Sam Whitus. I work for Delaware Engineering, Centerborough. This is a project we're doing on Winthrop Road. This is a preliminary conventional subdivision. If the commission looks at what's in front of them, up in the site location map, you can see the 2 existing parcels.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
Sure. If you look up in the site location map, you can see the 2 existing parcels. We plan on subdividing the left parcel into 2 lots. Access is through an existing paved common drive on the right side of the right parcel. So that's why we have it included in here. That's shared between 2 existing houses. There's an existing garage, an existing above ground pool. Both sites have on-site wells, on-site sewer systems. There's a CLMP easement that runs over a pond, and then to the rear house on the right lot. We do have wetlands on the site. I talked with Bruce, the wetlands enforcement officer, and he said it was fine because all of our proposed development is outside of the 100-foot upland review area. We did soil testing and percolation tests in the vicinity of our proposed house location. You can also see our proposed lot layout. We have frontage on the left side, an access strip along the southern side, 25 feet wide. And then we have our proposed house area. Our zone is R80, and the current information is in the zoning data table in the bottom left. If you look at page 2, you can see a 20 scale site development plan. We show a proposed driveway connecting to the existing driveway. We will have an easement over both the existing lots for the new lot. We will have a new CLMP easement connecting the house to a CLMP pole with overhead wires. We have a preliminary subsurface sewage disposal system and design. And some grading, sedimentation control. You can also see the building rectangle and proposed water service connection. Yep. So that's about it. Are there any questions?
Good. I just wanted to say thank you for including your water quality stuff. And just out of curiosity, we don't usually get preliminary stuff. You guys usually just come in. Or is it just, was there something we're missing? Or you just wanted to show us that it's coming?
No, I think in the regulations, it said we had to have a preliminary. I talked with Zoe.
Yep.
2 weeks ago, I think. So I think that covers this part of it. And then you can expect a full application subdivision set in the future.
Okay. And did, do you guys have wetlands approval already, or you have not done that yet?
No, we haven't gone to wetlands yet. We just have the email from Bruce saying that we're outside of the area.
Okay. And Crad has signed off yet?
No, we haven't sent it to help yet.
Cool. All right.
I think the fact that Bruce sent that email means that wetlands is, that's all from
Okay.
wetlands. And yeah, this is just an opportunity for the commission to review and ask any initial questions or give any initial feedback so that when they do come in with the application, it can already address some of those.
Pretty straightforward for me.
You said you have wetlands indicated on here?
Yes. If you look on the first page, kind of on the left side, we have a flagged wetlands line. We field located flags that Richard Smarsky placed in the field.
There it is, got it, okay. All right.
Oh, Tanner, didn't see your hand go up.
Hey, Tony. Yeah, just at a point of clarification here. We saw this at our last regular meeting, last week, I think it was. We just reviewed this as a subdivision review with no regulated activity occurring. So we had no application in front of us for regulated activity, and as planned, per site plan, no regulated activity is occurring. So it does not require a permit from us, just cursory review of the subdivision. Just to point out to you folks, the shared driveway would be important because that access that goes up to the upper left hand corner of the parcel that I'm looking at on the screen has wetlands all throughout it. So you wouldn't have possibility without passing prejudgment of putting a driveway in along that stretch of the parcel, which provides it with the frontage.
I was getting a little excited here. I saw that dashed line. I thought there was a bridge across the pond.
That's the wetlands I'm
Overhead
referring
wires.
to there. Yeah. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Thank you, Tanner.
Yep.
Anybody else questions? If not, we can torture you next month, I am assuming, or the following month. Okay. All right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item B. Application for 171 Main Street, Unit A. So is there an applicant here who can give us a rundown?
Hi.
Name?
My name's Jessica Layson. I own Enchanted Blooms. I just opened my shop last year, actually, right on Main Street, 169 Main Street. I am a resident of Deep River. I'm also been on the economic development committee for about a year now, and have been on the new committee that we've been starting as the Deep River Business Guild. And yeah, I have officially grown out of my space and I'm ready to get into something bigger. And so I am just looking to move 30 steps, 3 feet. I was corrected multiple times. But just basically just going a little bit behind to be in a bigger location so I can continue to grow.
Okay, so just quick question for you or point of clarification. You are taking over it used to be a hairdresser? So you're
Yes.
taking over that?
So Bennett's Books, as we should know, turned into an apartment. Flo's old Fresh Image Salon, which Bobby has already renovated to be just a space that's prepared to take in a new business, doesn't have the salon stuff in it, and is ready to move forward.
Okay. And just real quick, can you point, so, I mean, there's kind of a convoluted area in this spot, but if you would point out your parking.
Yes.
So, because I know this area is for the apartments.
Yeah,
if I
I
remember
gotta
correctly from last time.
see where I'm at.
Okay. So
Okay, no, okay. So this is where I'm at now. And then you walk back here.
Yep.
And I know I have the parking 6. My landlord's here.
Yeah.
Help guide me.
Yeah.
So I have about
Grass abutment that comes out of the back of Compass Rose Clothing Store there, and it goes from there until the end of the paved area.
Okay.
Which is there.
Yeah.
By the way. Forgot your name. Okay. All right, any questions for the applicant? They moved from this little spot that's up front next to the ice cream shop.
So what's the nature of your business? And how does it vary from a hairdresser? I mean, do you have need for a dumpster? Do you have
Yeah, so
deliveries and all that kind of stuff?
yeah, so I'm a full-time operating walk-in or delivery floral shop. I also do weddings and events. I work closely with Robinson Wright Funeral Home as well as a couple of surrounding Swan funeral homes. There is a dumpster and a recycling bin that I have use of.
Existing on site.
Correct.
It's shared between my building, sorry, Bobby handled again. My building in the back, the one in the front, and clothing store. It's been shared, so there's no change to that.
So as of right now, I am using the same dumpster and trash can as I would be dumpster and recycling as I would be using in this location as well.
This is Daniel. Could I speak, Tony?
No, of course.
Hi.
So I own a few flower shops. I've owned plenty of flower shops. So I want to point out to Alan that this actually would be a good move because the primary resource you need is water to keep all the flowers watered. And as this was a hairdresser, I believe that there is sufficient water provided. It probably still in large sinks that are on site. That's kind of a question. Are there still large sinks on site?
Yes, there are 2. We've removed one, but we will be using a larger sink so that I can do more urn wreaths and larger. I use plant-based oasis because I try to be eco-friendly. So the oasis I use is called Renewal Oasis versus regular. But in order for it to fit and soak properly, the sinks have to be a little bit bigger. But it will be basically one big sink versus 2 separate sinks, I guess is a good way to put it.
So you are a retail operation, right?
Yeah, so as of right now,
You're gonna do retail on Mother's Day and Valentine's Day and
yes, I
especially
just
Mother's
survived this last week, to be honest. I also work with local flower farmers in the area. So during spring and summer, I specifically try to drive most of my flowers that I get to sell at my shop from local places. Chloe actually being one of them.
Yeah.
Sarah Layton, who was here, is actually another one from last year I got flowers from too.
But those are small delivery vehicle, no normal pickup truck or a van, not a box truck or
No, I actually,
like that.
yeah, most of them are freelancers. So they use their own cars and I pay them appropriately to use just a car.
So my concern is that we're absent a site plan. And just in you talk and say, oh yeah, I was, my business was here and the site of my business didn't accommodate a dumpster, so I'm using a neighboring dumpster.
No.
So
It did. They were all, they all pay for it together
Right,
as.
But with that, but if you understand my point is, we don't have a site plan to see that your operation fits. And if your retail operation is significantly more than a hairdresser, which means you have 2 chairs in there, you need 2 parking spaces. If you have a rush for retail, you need to accommodate that. And this is a location where
I'm
there is
confused, I'm sorry.
So what he's after is like, if you consider like a property map.
Yeah,
So you would depict where your parking is, where your dumpster is, where your, like,
which are already in sight. They're
Right,
there
right.
in place.
but you're not showing them to us. You're saying, oh, there's 6 spots over here. And I'm looking at an aerial map on the internet saying, okay, I'll take your word for it. I mean, it's a,
So there are lines right out. There are lines. Okay.
show me the lines. I want the lines for the application.
no, he wants an actual.
Oh,
I want a site.
I guess I was confused by
record
what
that
I-
shows that what you're saying you're going to do, you can accommodate, because otherwise it's just saying, well, you have needs for delivery, you have needs for retail parking, you have needs for a dumpster, and if the nature of the property is, yes, it probably can support that, but I don't have anything that demonstrates that to me, that you're accommodating the mixed use on the site, which is residential use on the ground level, which you had I think you went through ZBA for that.
Yeah.
So it's more complicated just saying, yeah, it's a business coming in, swapping out for another business. I get the logic of it, but we have a responsibility to ensure that it is fitting and is compliant.
Are you concerned if the parking that I have is also for the residential parking? Because that's separate. So residential has their own parking space. This is specific parking only for the business, if
But
that.
that's what a site plan would show.
Yeah, I guess I was just confused on the site.
Saying
plan. I didn't know that it needed to
You
be.
as that this is legally my spaces to use.
Understand, yeah.
And that there are other uses on site, commercial and residential, and they have needs as well. So we need to have the assurance that those are accommodated. We just haven't kind of swapped them out. Because again, this is a site plan application, which is usually accompanied by a site plan that shows.
So I did I had something connected with it. I just didn't do the parking space. That was the part that I wasn't, that I didn't know.
It's an interior floor plan.
So
Yeah.
what- hold on.
Honestly.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. So last time you guys were here, we did have a map, so we can dig that back up and you can get that, what we're talking about added to that. So you're gonna have to designate, I don't mean to overstep on Ellen, but designate which spots are designated for, for the residential use, which ones are for the commercial use,
Okay.
where your dumpster area is on.
So it was supposed to be internal and external.
It's like if there's a dumpster there that's for your use, it's like existing dumpster, it's here, because that's the type of thing that we need to.
Yeah.
We look at, because if you then say, oh, we got to put a dumpster here and it goes in, front of Anchor and Compass.
Yeah.
They would have, it's
Yeah,
like,
no, understood. Everything's gonna be the same, so I will just, yeah. do
I
take
think,
care of
I
that.
think you have what you need.
Yeah.
But I'm just a stickler for.
Yeah.
You gotta
We could take a field trip.
Because.
You guys wanna go for a walk? Maybe it's just a special league moment. For a quick walk.
Lovely sidewalk.
I can show you a million photos on my cell phone in 30 seconds.
No, and
I
again,
understand.
yeah.
It's gotta be.
It's gotta go through the book, so totally understood, yeah.
You said that, we verified it, et cetera.
Yeah.
It's like any other application that, what you say is good, but we want to have evidence that, yeah, you have it there, we have the clearances, et cetera, because yes, we'd be going on trust to approve this. And yeah, I'm just that guy, sorry.
So,
Yeah, I'm on the EC. We got one too, so,
we'll dig up, I can have Zoe dig up the plan from last time
Okay.
and we'll get that red line.
yeah, just let me know if I need to turn anything in or do anything.
Yeah, so once you go over that with her and get that all straightened out,
Okay.
hand it back in and we'll see this next month as well. It sounds like I'm
Is,
not.
We also
is there
need to
anything else that the commission wants to make sure is on that site plan besides parking and dumpster?
Nope, and we just mentioned the statement.
Yeah,
of
if
use.
there's anything specific to your, activity that would change it from, the nature of the retail operations are different. If you
Yeah.
have 2 seats, then you're gonna have probably 2 people parking there.
So number of employees, hours of operation, just
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So we understand. how
So
your
you,
business-
okay, yeah, because my employees would park off-site anyways,
So you
so.
can put that in your statement of. use.
Okay, so really, really detail.
A little,
All my
little information. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's what you guys are making a motion to continue.
Yes, I would like, before we make a decision on this, I'd like to have the site plan in hand with the site requirements delineated.
Okay, for Nancy's sake, when are you guys gonna put the motion?
I'm gonna make the motion now.
All right, second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I.
Aye.
All right. Who's in truth? I think we're at the end, aren't we?
Yeah, report.
Hell up on my sheet. Here we go. Okay, we're on to ZEO, or report, ZEO.
Hi.
You got Zoe.
Sorry.
You got streaming people even here too, so.
This is Zoe's report.
Yeah. So. Okay.
I guess I'll show my face while I do this. Sorry, I'm currently in California.
Zoe, how is California? Is it warm?
Don't tell us it's warm. Don't tell us.
I don't want to hear it.
We brought the New England weather with us, so it's warmer than New England, but it's 30 degrees colder than it was 2 weeks ago. So, ZEO updates. I wanted to make sure that I brought attention to, and it's in the OneDrive as well, and I'll also just send it via email because I'll make sure to email all of the commissions that I staff, but there is an opportunity to go to a training to review kind of, well, now it's Public Act 25-1, HB 8002, the housing bill. So it is open to both Tyke and Holler and Sage clients, and Deep River is both. So if you are interested in registering for that, I'll send that out to everyone. And it also does count for 2 hours of commissioner training, if there's anyone that is looking to get some of those hours in. I have to go back and look at who's behind on training, but if you know that you need some training hours, that's 2 of them. Besides that, there's been some topics, some new, some ongoing in terms of enforcement. I won't go into details, but I'm doing my best to try to stay on top of them. So if you are curious to know some of those details, let me know. And then there are some things that I haven't prepped anything for the regulation discussion yet because I think we'll have to focus on some of the most immediate updates due to the housing bill before digging into some of the other items. So my focus has been this last month on kind of, along with I think everyone else, parsing through what the Planning and Zoning Commission will need to do for the housing bill. There's really one big required update that we'll be able to talk about in more detail in March, and that'll be right after the training opportunity too. So if anyone does go, it'll help get everyone informed for that required update that's supposed to be in July.
Question question for you about regulations, since we are discussing that.
Yeah.
And we were talking about 400 Commercial Drive earlier. Is it Ken's recommendation that we correct our regulation now that we've gone through the hearing with them? So we should find out.
So I'll check with Ken in terms of if he views any impact on the timing of that. It's because they have appealed the commission's decision. I think it would be good to update and clarify those regulations since the intention was not matching the language when it came to the 250 feet anyway. But I can confirm if he sees anything that would hinder us from moving forward on that update immediately or, in the next couple of months. And I guess that is the other update, that 400 Commercial Drive has appealed the planning and zoning decision to deny their site plan application. But I don't have any further. I got the paperwork in this past week so no details on that yet, just that it has been appealed.
I was gonna say, I think that covers all three of those, right? CEO, regulations, and attorney.
Yeah.
Oh, and the chairman.
Oh.
All right, so
I thought you had indicated that you were going to go to some continuing education or update with.
Yes, I did. I went to a Casio sponsored webinar series type thing, training regarding zoning and agriculture. And I actually asked, so once the slides are available from that, because I was hoping they'd be available before tonight's meeting to share out, but they haven't been shared yet. Once they become available, I am going to share it out with everyone. It was definitely good to attend. And I think that, both with some of the questions that have been raised around defining agriculture, and I think some of the prior observations we've made about some of the limitations to our current ag regs as they stand, with some of the things that were adopted as goals in the new POCD. All of that, I think, prompts some specific looking at that piece of the regulations. And I think that the slides that were shared were helpful for some of it. I will admit some of it kind of was like a lot of the same there's confusion, I think, from the public in terms of what the role of zoning is when it comes to agriculture versus the state. And that, for example, PA 490 is a tax, it's for the tax code. It does not have a relationship to zoning permitting. So there's some stuff like that, I think has gotten conflated in a lot of the conversations about this as a whole. And I did also have this website shared that has like a lot of resources on it that I can also share out tonight, just so that folks have it to start exploring. Because I do think that it'll be good to kind of start digging through that and looking at kind of what other communities are doing, how other communities are defining the range of activities that can fall under ag, as well as kind of meeting some of like the current realities of.
Because we're definitely challenged now to define ag and also state what we recognize as being the threshold, as well as the issue of capacity was brought up. So it's all stuff that we need to address, and certainly isn't in our regulations. But
Yeah.
if there's a standard or a precedent that we can look to have a leg to stand on, would be beneficial.
Yeah. And I could be mixing up my towns between Deep River and Chester, because I don't remember now which town it was that I noticed this discrepancy, but there are some things that I think the language could be clarified overall, where, for example,
I didn't do chickens in Chester.
Honestly, it might be Chester. No, I think it is Deep River. I'll have to double check. But one of these towns has something that basically says you can't have more than this many chickens or rabbits. Like it just puts a limit. But
No, that's
it
Deep River because we
that is
looked at
Deep
it
River. Okay.
here.
So it's
Yeah, it
like you
is.
can't have more than this many combination of chickens or rabbits.
Yeah.
But it doesn't put a limit
That was
on
protected in non-ag.
it doesn't put a limit on other things in a way that basically is like it doesn't really make sense. So it's
Right,
like
you
you
can
can
have
have 40
you can have
acres,
400 goats,
but
but
you
you
can't
can't
have
have
more than 30 chickens,
right.
even though you have 40 acres. Like
Yeah.
it just has that limit, period.
Yeah.
But you can have this many, like there's just the limits don't really make sense, and you could mix and match it in a way that doesn't make sense. So it's like you can have 29 chickens and one rabbit, but God forbid you have 30 chickens and one rabbit.
Yeah.
So I think there's some stuff that probably should be looked at anyway. Um, so
Well, in addition to the no more than, we have to set a threshold for at least.
Yeah.
If you have, 2 dromedaries, is that sufficient?
Right.
And
okay,
I'm okay with that. We need to have something.
Right.
yeah, well, and I do think that having some, I think, for example, Sarah is a good local resource, and maybe seeing if there's some other people that could also present on it from that actually work in the field of agriculture, and kind of those definitions would be good. Because I think, yeah, I think that there's a lot that should be kind of parsed through. Because I think also there's certain activities or like types of agricultural activities that make sense for the 5 acres, whereas the reality is we already have a lot of people who are doing quote unquote farming on less than 5 acres that are out of compliance right now because of that rule.
But our POCD to kind of address that, we were supposed to look into micro farming and lots smaller than 5 acres. And I mean, so that is in the POCD
Yeah.
for us to address in the regulations.
So I think
When it
that's
comes to music,
a question
can it
too.
only be country, or is Zydeco acceptable?
I also do want to point out that the R80 zone is specifically for things like activities and agritourism, because that's where commercial agriculture is permitted versus
Right.
something like the R30 zone, which does not allow for those types of things. So there's also a disconnect on what those zones are supposed to be for.
Zoe,
Mhm.
when I was doing regulations at my previous job, I was big into the whole farming thing, and I touched base with, well, John helped write the book with the Farm Bureau, and I touched base with, you're gonna know her name, I don't, Joan at the Farm Bureau.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that
I
sounds
can't remember,
familiar, yeah.
can't remember her last name, but I have all of this information at home. And one of the big things was that we were limiting, you can only have 2 goats.
Mhm.
You can only have, a horse and 4 chickens. So I got a hold of her, and she said it makes no sense. You have to understand farming to understand how many animals. It doesn't go by how much land you have. It is,
Exactly.
what is the purpose of the animal, So one of the examples they gave me was, and this was a local farmer, that, for example, you can have 500 dairy cows because they all stay in a barn for their entire life, as opposed to, say, beef cows that go out and need to graze and have land. So it's not how much land you have, it's what is the purpose of the animal. So I'm going to send all that to you so that you
Awesome.
can take a look at it. It was very interesting. I had no idea. And if you go online and you look at, I want to go, and you look at goat breeders. I looked at so many goat breeders. Goats, they wouldn't sell you 1 goat. You had to buy 2 because they have to have a companion.
Right,
Well, who's
Yeah.
to say that the 2 goats are going to get along? So if you could buy a goat and take it home, and you got a 110-pound Rottweiler that it gets along with, I was told by the people at the Farm Bureau, that's fine. Needs a companion, but it doesn't have to be another goat. So it was very, very interesting, the stuff I learned about that. So I'm going to get that all for you.
Yeah. Well, and I'll also pull some information and whatnot, because I do take issue with the argument that the quote unquote petting zoo function is not related to agriculture. I think experiencing agriculture is a part of agriculture, and agricultural education is a part of agriculture.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
Yep.
anyway,
I think we're all in agreement. So, Lisa, you put your. Okay, so I'm gonna skip chairman because I think we covered that. Just, we have an appeal. We'll end up in court. Budget, real quick. We have March 5th, 3rd. I can't remember the day, but I'll be there. I'll make sure I text you guys or email you guys so you know the exact date in case you want to show up and get harassed by the Board of Finance, because I enjoy that. All right, on to RiverCOG Housing Committee.
RiverCOG Housing. My camera doesn't seem to, there we go. Hi. So at this last meeting, I was voted in as secretary on that board. And this basically what we talked about in the last meeting was road mapping the changes for HB 8002. As some of these things, as we've already previously discussed, are still a bit of confusion. So RiverCOG, all the COGs, not just our COG, but the COGs have been tasked with sorting some of those out with housing and OMB. And so as those are figured out, they'll be delivered back to the towns. There's also some of the requirements are going to be picked up by RiverCOG, such as mapping and public engagement. Things that did not make it to the final bill were towards options of regional housing authority, which is fine because we have a housing authority. We don't necessarily even need to look at regionalization. So that's pretty much it for the affordable housing. They're figuring out what has to go in, when it has to go in, interpreting it so we can bring it back. And it basically lines up. It's always been going to, I think, some of the same workshops and seeing some of the same things. So I know from a sidebar with her that she's up on this. The regional planning was kind of an overlap, as the representative from regional housing went to the regional planning committee and basically did a presentation for everyone overall. Just by chance, one of the biggest questions that kind of came up as examples was one that we had just went through in our last meeting: is it 16 or under, or 16 or over? So it's not just our commission that's run into that. This is already kind of rippling across the state, and that was like one of the lead issues. And then of course a lot of discussion about parking apart from that. So as we receive some clarity on this, of course I will bring it back to the group. And unless anybody has any questions, that's it for the report.
Okay. All right. Questions? On to payment of bills, which I'm assuming are none. Always my favorite part of this. Adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. You all have a good night. That was quick. Usually I have to ask like 6 times. Enjoy your
everybody.
vacation.
I'll try. Don't worry. You'll still be getting some emails from me.
I'm sure.
Enjoy
Have a good night,
California.
everybody.
Yeah.